Good morning. I'm really excited about the words of hope that I have for you today. Have you ever come across something and you're like, that explains the gospel? And so today we're going to have the gospel according to Soren Kierkegaard. If you don't know who he was a philosopher. Some people kind of see him as outside the faith. I totally see him as inside the faith. Danish, some people refer to him as the disturbing Dane. But first, I do want to mention on my casual attire today, yes, this is my Abraham Lincoln 1860 campaign t-shirt. I mean, when you work on a campaign as long and as hard as I did, you would have expected to have gotten more than a t-shirt, but at least I did get the t-shirt. Okay, so what did Kierkegaard have to say? He said a lot of things, but he has this parable, and he says, suppose that there's a king, and he loved this humble maiden. And we live in a time where people maybe cross class lines a little bit more than maybe back in the old day. But the king really loved this beautiful girl, but she was this poor maiden. And so the king was like no other, and every statesman trembled before his power. No one dared breathe a word against him, for he had the strength to crush all opponents. And yet this mighty king was melted by love for a humble maiden. How could he declare his love for her? Well, I mean, he could do it, but what he really wants back is her love. In an odd sort of way, his very kingliness tied his hands. If he brought her to the palace and crowned her head with jewels and clothed her body in royal robes, she would surely not resist. No one dared resist him. But would she love him? She would say she loved him, of course, but would she truly? Or would she live with him in fear, nursing a private grief for the life she left behind? Would she be happy at his side? How could he know? She couldn't say no. It's like the old Soviet Union. Oh, can't complain. You don't get it. We can't complain. We're not allowed to. Power overruled it. If he rode to her forest cottage in his royal carriage in an armed escort waving bright banners, that too would overwhelm her. He did not want a cringing subject. He wanted a lover. He wanted an equal. He wanted her to forget that he was a king and she a humble maiden, and to let shared love cross over the gulf between them. How, though? How do you do that? How does the king come across in such a way that he doesn't scare the maiden away? What Kierkegaard goes on to say is, it is only in love that the unequal can be made equal. And so the king, convinced he could not elevate the maiden without crushing her freedom, resolved to descend. He clothed himself as a beggar and approached her cottage incognito, with a worn cloak fluttering loosely about him. It was no mere disguise, but a new identity he took on. He renounced the throne to win her hand. May I suggest to you that that is the picture of Christmas. That is what Jesus did. He approached us in a way that we could say no, that we might be inclined to say no. But he wanted a genuine response from us. He was looking for our love, and it was the only way that he could do it. I think that Kierkegaard is so spot on with this. And I hope that these are encouraging words for you at the outset of the Christmas season. The Apostle Paul put it this way, talking about Jesus in Philippians chapter 2, who being in very nature God did not consider equality with God something to be grasped, but made himself nothing, taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness, and being found in the appearance of a man, he humbled himself and became obedient to death, even death on a cross. This Christmas season, know that Jesus left heaven, left his throne, came to earth to win your heart. You are the maiden whose love he wants this Christmas. God bless you. Have a great day.